right, Tab. We are back. It has been a while. I know we say that all the time in all of our last few episodes, but there has been a significant change, right?
Yeah, quite a bit going on in the world itself, with the whole coronavirus, but we are in our, hopefully in our sterile HOA Talk Time bunker now.
That's right. We are in our new studio, face-to-face, not too close, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, things have changed. We're slowly transitioning to it's not a podcast. I think we had to look at, what is it called? Like Vidcast, right?
Vidcast, yeah.
Vidcast. There you go. So we are now going to be vidcasting for all our fans out there. So now they can, see our ugly mugs. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I guess it's yet to be determined.
Find out.
Yeah, we'll find out when all the ratings tank. But no, it's nice to be here. And again, we are located in our office. A new office in lovely downtown Winchester, Virginia. Right?
Yeah, a lot of character to the place. So we're not in a cube farm. We're in like a historic building too.
That's right.
The building goes back to like the 1800s or something.
Yeah, I think George Washington had a room here and did some work. I don't know. It's a little bit dated, so I apologize if you hear some weird creaks and noises. It comes with the territory, I guess, right?
And of course, with that territory, also your parking challenges now, because in a downtown environment, having to contend with parking issues.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. I know that we've spoken in, I think, in the last episode or one of the past episodes about this whole parking issue in New York City. Winchester clearly a little bit different, but there is it's interesting, right? So now, I was like, oh man, I got to actually park in a spot, and they had these parking meters here. And I was like, okay, let me, park here. I think I put like a little bit of like some charity quarters in there just to show that I'm doing my part. But I was like, you know what? This is Winchester. Who's going to ticket out here? And then, sure enough, I think about a week later, I got busted.
Yeah, because what you were counting on is apparently, rumor has it, there was only a 1.1 meter or parking meter maid enforcer, or whatever you want to call them.
Right.
A parking enforcement officer.
Yep.
And they increased their staff significantly. They doubled it.
Yeah, they doubled their staff to 2.
So you were counting on this one person that there's no way that they could effectively patrol, I don't know, whatever the area is, how many square miles or blocks,
right?
Whatever, and then they upped their game.
They did. They upped their game, and they're on top of it, because then I was like, you know what? Maybe it's a fluke. So I think I did it again. I kept on parking, in this parking meter thing.
Meaning you were shortchanging the meter.
Yeah, I was shortchanging the meter. Yeah, I was trying to, game it. I was like, look, there's no way they're going to get me every single day. So every day that I park there and not get busted, that's a plus for me, right? But then sure enough, they got me again.
And it was not so hefty fine either. I mean,
but still, it's like $10. But I mean, that's just going to add up. You might as well just, pay in, park in a parking garage like normal people. But anyhow, that was that, and it's been interesting. But just the whole parking thing in general, I just have to get used to it. Going to an actual location and parking and so on and so forth.
And then what you figured out is, of course, now every lot of these cities, they have you can get an app, and remember, you figured that out. What that's all about too. You didn't fall for the hard way. Trap,
right? Yeah, I fell into the app trap. Yeah, because then I think one time I tried to. I downloaded the app, and I think you put in the zone or whatever, and then you pay the money, right? So now I was in the office, I'm doing my thing, and then I think there's a warning that comes up like, hey, you need to replenish the money. I was like, yeah, I'll do it, whenever, and I forgot to do it, right? I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, I'll feed the meter. Or no, I was going to go back to the app and do it again. They wouldn't let you do it again because I let it expire. So then I was like, all right. So then in like 20 minutes or so, I was like, I'll just go down there and feed the meter. I go down there, and sure enough, there's a ticket. And I was like, wait a minute. How did they know that, to come exactly to, oh, wait a minute. I gave them the GPS coordinates to my car. They literally probably just sat there and waited with their watch, looking like, oh, there it is. Time's up,
So the app is not really, you might think it's convenient for you as a customer or consumer, but it's actually easier for the meter maid.
Yeah, it's a home. It's a homing device for the meter maid. They know exactly where you are, what time you put in the money, and
when it's going to expire.
And when it's going to expire. So yeah, they got you.
So they can just strategically go ahead and hit those which they know are expiring or they haven't renewed.
Right.
Didn't re-up it, but that's kind of stupid that you can't tie it in with a debit card or something that
you can, but you got to do it within that time period. If you let it expire and go to zero, it's just like that zone is out of commission.
So you get like a 2-minute warning or something?
Yeah. I got a warning. I just did. I wasn't used to it. I didn't pay attention to it.
It had to happen within that time frame.
Correct.
Otherwise, that's it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that after the time was up, I don't think I spent more than 10, 15 minutes, and I was back, with my quarters ready to go, and there it is, another ticket. Boom.
Wow.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? But I mean, it leads me to think, this whole parking thing, and now I'm like in a heightened state of awareness of everything, like everything that's going on in the world. So I was like, when I went parking to the grocery stores, for example, there's just one chain out here, I think Martin's. It's kind of like Giant. I think they're the same company, but anyways. So I was parking there, and then I was like, hey, wait a minute. There's a specialized parking spot there, right? And it says, for expectant mothers. So I'm thinking, now hold on a second. First of all, I respect that. I understand, what's going on here. But number one, who's enforcing this, right? Who's actually going to check who's parking there? Are you truly an expectant mother? Like, you can be expecting at any time if you're in your first trimester.
Yeah, like how expectant are you?
Yeah, exactly. How expectant are you? And that a little bit like, are you?
Is it imminent?
No, yeah. Or if not, is somebody going to come up? Wait a minute, where are you on the the calendar? No one's going to do that, obviously, right?
Right.
And then isn't it a little bit like favoritism? Not that it's unfair, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not like the handicap thing where it's like a permanent thing. You know what I mean? This is a temporary inconvenience. Mm-hmm. I got a bum knee. Where's the bum knee parking? So I was just thinking, this is not fair. I know it sounds mean, and I don't mean to be mean, but it's a little bit silly if you think about it. Like, wait a minute, you gave a parking spot to an expectant mother. Well, then you could do for any kind of ailment or temporary thing.
No, there's a valid reason for that.
What is that?
Because they're probably buying more product.
But again, that's just still favoritism.
No, I know, but there's a business reason for that. More diapers, more cravings or whatever.
Well, shouldn't it be for the spouse who has to actually carry the burden of the financial responsibility?
Well, it doesn't say.
It doesn't. You know what I mean?
But the sign doesn't say expectant mother has to be present. It just says reserved for expectant mothers.
Right.
So the spouse could be, whether the expectant mother's in the car or at home. I don't think it matters.
But who's checking this?
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah. So this got me to thinking about, is that how it is with the HOA guidelines and things too?
Kind of.
Right?
Voluntary compliance.
It's voluntary compliance. Hey, it's on the honor code almost, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if nobody's checking, then I'm not doing. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, but it's yet to be determined. But, it's good to be back. Hopefully people enjoy the new format, and we'll see where it takes us, right?
That's right.
Get ready to be submerged into the HOA Talk Time Fishbowl.
All right. In the fishbowl this week, we have Jonathan Doro from Vinteum. This is a software company that does stuff for HOAs. That's basically all I really read. So we're going to dive into this and see what we can do for Jonathan. Jonathan, are you there?
I am. Hello. How you guys doing today?
Good. Good to have you on.
Thank you very much. And what an interesting name, Fishbowl. I'm not sure if this has to do with the atrocious performance of the Miami Dolphins last week, but coming from Florida, I do take offense to the name a little bit.
That's right. Is it because it's the Fishbowl is a diminutive kind of thing, or is this Miami's looking at the first pick in the draft next year?
Well, first pick, if we could hold on to it. Who knows? I hear half the team is jockeying to leave, but we'll see how things progress over the season.
Sounds good. Well, I tell you what, so we have you in the Fishbowl here. So we want you to kind of briefly explain to our audience Vinteum and what it is and what you do, and let's just see if we can kind of let HOA Talk Time experts maybe see if we can kind of help you out, and so we can all go in that same general direction of onward, upward, and beyond. So with that, tell us a little bit about Vinteum.
Yeah, absolutely. So Vinteum is a website and communication portal company. We work with a lot of HOAs, a lot of condominiums, a lot of their property management companies, ultimately to provide a public-facing website for friends, family, prospective buyers of the community, renters of the community, as well as a secure back-end portal where residents can access things like documents. They could submit service tickets, for common area issues or architectural review issues. They can communicate with one another. We've got a social network on there. We've got a ton of stuff that kind of helps build a community out of just like a bunch of houses all next to each other, right? One of the things that I run into here in New York is I live in an apartment building, and I know two of my floor mates, and it's really incredible that I don't really know anybody else in the building, right? People are they're so close physically, but so distant as far as connecting with people. So we kind of try to bridge that gap. And in doing so, also help managers manage the community a little bit better.
Huh.
So that's kind of Vinteum, at a high level.
I see. So here's the interesting thing, and Tab and I had discussed this prior to, we went over the show notes. Again, we know from experience. How long has Vinteum been around, by the way?
2014. There's been a couple of years of trial and error,
sure.
Doing some research, development, that sort of thing. But
sure.
Yeah, 2014.
Couple of years. Okay. So here's the thing because we know, Tab, we've been doing this now for 13, 14 years, and it's an interesting business space, right, to say the least.
Yeah, that would be an understatement.
So, when we heard about this, and I know that you guys had a blog recently, wrote about HOA Talk Time, and for that we appreciate it. We were thinking, hey, now here's another company out there, kind of like us back in the day, renegade company, trying to shake things up, in the HOA world. But there's a couple of things that kind of jump out at us, and we're like, well, here's some things that I kind of find interesting, and I just wanted to kind of see if we can kind of address this in a Shark Tank way. Basically, you're going to get, some Mark Cuban $1 million ideas right here for free.
But no funding, though. No funding.
Perfect.
But no funding, right. We're not going to give you any funding, but we're going to give you some really good ideas.
We're not going to put our money where our mouth is.
Yeah, but I'm not sure there's enough equity to go around either. So perfect.
That's right. There you go. So Jonathan, the first thing that comes to mind with Vinteum is it's a very odd name for a company that's dealing in the world of HOAs. Because when we started, we really that is the first thing we toiled over. Is like, what are we going to call ourselves? Because we're dealing with homeowners associations, people, an antiquated kind of business, so to speak. Why Vinteum?
Yeah, well, and great question. We have some Brazilian investors who are very involved, and they can really get behind and rally behind the idea of innovation and invention. And what better way to reference that by referencing advancement technology in the 21st century, right? So Vinteum is actually Vinteum in Portuguese. So it's kind of referencing that, 21st century type of thing. So 21st century real estate and 21st century Fox and whatever else. So that's kind of where it all came from. Although, I mean, if you're asking me, why aren't we 22, 22nd century? Because that's really, I mean, we're already in the 21st century. We see the improvements, but what about future thinking,
Or how about this? Well, what's HOA or Home Association in Portuguese? Because honestly, I don't think they have HOAs in Brazil. See, here's the thing. I think you're kind of way off base. It's like it doesn't need to be Vinteum at all. It's got to be. I think it would be. Cap, what do you think? Like Tech for HOA or something of that nature. So I mean, here's the thing. And the funny thing is, it's like a .io. Which actually I had to explain the tab, which is kind of silly because, like, no one's going to know what a .io is. What is that? I don't even see that extension. Is that, like, kind of a play on the IO on-off? Like the techie thing?
Exactly right.
Yeah. Not good. Not good, Jonathan. Not good. Not good for the older HOA folks. And here's the kicker. You're based out of Lower Manhattan, the most non-HOA place on the planet. I mean, my in-laws live in New York. I know. We had a whole episode about HOA. So, traditional HOAs, are these suburban neighborhoods, with these, old fuddy-duddies sitting around the table, talking about dog poop. I mean, so here's the thing. Number one, I think your $1 million idea is we got to change this name. I think down the road you can convince the investors that, you know what, Vinteum is just not, you're not talking to people that watch, the Teen Choice Awards. I'm telling you, it's older folks, right? It's a challenge.
It's a challenge because
money, though.
It's a challenge because what I have a insurance, life and health insurance license, which is a very traditional type of business as well. I know there's all these online, whatever, you get a term quote and all that, but I'm saying there's what's also known as the kitchen table market, where you meet with the family, the potential insureds in their home, and that's what our experience has been with dealing with HOAs. We still get asked in this day and age, can you come to an in-person meeting? And this is in the age of where there's all the WebEx, the conference calls, all of these, but people still adhere to these traditional, antiquated, outdated, ineffective, inefficient, time-wasting practices.
Yeah, and we run into the same thing. A very cost-effective solution, right? We offer a ton of value at a very reasonable price, and because of that, we've got to save money where we can. And same type of thing where if somebody's in the city and it happens to be in our neck of the woods, well then sure, I'll swing by the condo. But for the most part, a lot of our calls are through a video conference, so similar to like a Zoom or a WebEx. It's funny, dealing with these HOA homeowners. Sometimes they have a committee, and the committee is comprised of some savvy individuals, maybe like a security guru or VP of Hewlett Packard or something along those lines. We've kind of been able to speak with some people that are cutting edge, so to speak, on the tech side of things. Meanwhile, the majority of the time, it is somebody who is not embracing technology very well, and for example, we send over a link. Hey, here's the Zoom meeting. Looking forward to chatting with you. Next thing you know, it's this older lady that happens to be on the call, and I'm going through my demonstration, and next thing you know, like her video pops on, and I don't think that she meant to turn on this video. And next thing you know, she's sitting there in her living room, the fan's whirling around. She lights up a cigarette while she's staring at the TV, at the video conference as I'm kind of, giving her the spiel. And I see like her hair flying all over the place, cigarette smokes all over the place, and she's like half dozing off in the middle of this demonstration. I'm just thinking to myself, oh my goodness, should I say something?
No, you gotta let that continue.
The hair and makeup crew did not make it to her house earlier that morning. We'll put it that way. But in those sorts of situations, it's just tough to determine, what do I do?
See, therein lies.
Go ahead, Z.
Go ahead, Tab.
No, I was going to say, so how often do you can you come out and show this to us or talk to us in person versus a willingness to accept or adopt the Zoom as you use video conferencing?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd say, I mean, we do a pretty good job at this point. We set the expectation relatively early, and we say, hey, this is kind of how we work. So, and anymore, we've tried to overcome that. Once they hear that we're from New York and, oh, okay, well, I'm just outside of the city, or just in, maybe we could meet up. But for the most part, we try to overcome that. And the problem is with some of these solutions, you've got to download it ahead of time, and that also presents a series of potential issues. Like Google Hangouts, I think is one. If you're using their browser, you don't need to download anything. And then there's others that have kind of come into play as well that you could use right from your computer browser instead of having to download something. And that certainly helps too, but it's you're right. It is a hurdle in and of itself. But, I mean, part of it is also like, hey, if we can't get you to figure out how to get on a Zoom meeting, well, then the chance of using the software, regardless of how easy
right.
it is.
There's the rub. That's what I'm thinking. You get it. I was like, well, wait a minute. If you're pushing a technology platform to the most non-tech savvy people, like we deal with the like, for example, homeowner responses from the HOAs when we cite them for issues of their from the covenant compliance inspections that we do, right? You would be surprised. So many people have AOL accounts still. Like, they have AOL emails. How is that possible? They're net zero. Like, how small are these servers that I know where the AOL data center used to be. My friend used to work there. That must be in somebody's basement right now. I mean, but it's still, it's unbelievable how they still use dial-up and antiquated services, and now you're trying to push them on some sort of portal, whatever. I mean, that's a tough sled. I'm telling you. Yeah, hopefully you have Plan B, because Plan A with the video conferencing is already kind of, maybe some alternative ways you can kind of get your message across.
Mm-hmm. You're right. No, it's certainly not easy, and we've kind of got two things that have been helping us out. One, I mean, the HOA professionals, right? These management companies, they understand the value. They understand how to connect, why connecting people is important, giving them a voice, giving them an opportunity to easily access things like documents and submitting work orders and that sort of thing. So management companies have really been great in adopting that, especially because they are often a little bit more open to it, and they kind of force the board to adopt these technologies. Another thing is, I mean, laws. I kind of hate to say it, but in Florida, there was a law passed last year that requires condominiums of a certain size to provide a website and host documents for the community, all in an effort to increase transparency. So if a condo is over 150 units, they've got to have a website. They've got to be able to allow residents a secure back-end login to access these documents. So, needless to say, I mean, we've got a lot of clients in Florida now. A lot of those condominiums are working with Vinteum software.
Perfect.
But you're right. I mean, some of these people, it's like, yeah, sure, we'll do it because of the law, but we don't want it, and they begrudgingly accept. So,
but there's another contradiction, Jonathan. When we had spoken a couple of weeks ago, you had told me you're originally from Florida, and kind of the major disconnect, which you just said, that Florida requiring this transparency, openness with these community associations, but yet you were telling me something about you can't name a criminal or something. Cite that for me again. Explain that to see.
Florida man is, I'm not sure if it's kind of this like phenomenon that's been going on over the past 5 or 10 years. It's kind of been growing and snowballing. But ever since like the 1900s, there's been this desire to have increased transparency amongst government officials and public elected officials, and they are forced to publicly publicly display any sort of event that occurs, whether that is something like somebody is arrested for something. They want to make sure that this information is displayed quickly. To the point where, like, if a governor wants to chat with his son, they've got to have a public notice if they're going to be talking about things like public transit. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But it's at the same time, they also don't disclose, like, the individual's name in these. They just say Florida man, Florida woman. So because of that, there's been a lot of memes on the internet. There's been all sorts of things. And these stories are absolutely crazy. You could follow these guys on like Twitter, Instagram. But there's stories, this Florida woman calls 911 like 4 times in an hour. The police come to her house, and she's like, "Oh, I just need beer. Can you guys grab me some beer?" Like ridiculous stories like this. A man was interviewing at Kohl's department store, and then he was arrested for shoplifting at Kohl's after his job interview. Just absolutely ridiculous stuff. So anyway, Florida man, Florida women, and I'm not quite sure what causes it, whether it's the heat, the abundance of alligators, the melting pot of different cultures. I'm not quite sure, but it is quite a unique place and with unique laws.
Wow, we're gonna have to. Hey, Tab, we're gonna have to ask our resident guru in Florida, Bob Gorley, ask right. Mr. Kondo about that. We're gonna have to delve into that a little bit deeper.
He migrated. He should be assimilated by now because he went from the Yankee state, Connecticut, to the Sunshine State almost a year, I think now, or maybe over a year.
Yeah, we'll give Bob. I know you listen. He's a regular listener to the show. Well, we need to talk.
He's our Florida man.
That's right.
It's not the type of term you'd like to be called.
I see.
All you got to do is read the headlines to know that these people are they're special. We can leave it at that.
Interesting. All right. Well, I think we got the ball kind of rolling. We got an idea. We got you kind of going in the right direction. I would say go to your investors. Let's just change the name. And you can keep the location, but I would, kind of keep that on the down low, especially if you want to expand, into our market. The Mid-Atlantic region is big. We do West Coast. We do, we're all over too. So, let's work on that. And let's get some of your programs going. But in the meantime, we will put the Vinteum's information, regardless of your URL. We will put that on our show notes, and hopefully folks can check you guys out and see if you guys can be of service to them.
Wonderful. Well, we appreciate that. And will either of you be making an investment at this point? What do you think? Can we do like some sort of
video conference and then talk about it? I
don't know. We could revisit it, I guess. We'll have to delve into the numbers, right, Z?
That's right. It's all about the numbers, and yep, exactly. And then we'll be in touch.
Very cool. Well, thanks for bringing me on. I appreciate it, gentlemen. You have a wonderful day.
As you as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go. We're gonna go head up AOL dial-up. I'm gonna see if I can check my email. All right. Take care.
Bye.